I think that theater, for me, is all about passion. It's about living life as a human being to your fullest capacity every moment, and bringing the joy and the love you feel every day you're alive to the stage to share all of your gifts with human beings. Theater is about storytelling, and theater is about the universal spirit of what we are and who we are as human beings on this planet. To me, theater speaks from all languages and all hearts of all peoples across the entire globe. That's what I do, and it's what I express, it's what I believe in, and it's how I live my life every day. I give my soul, my heart, my mind, my joy, my love, my spirit over to sharing the passion that I feel about the capacity that theater encompasses, and then we're able to embrace one another with all of the different thoughts coursing through our brains and all the different moments in our lives that we feel that can fill us completely and make us a better human being every day and heal the planet. So I think theater is completely about that. Well, I don't think about life in that way as far as years or the time passages, but I started very young. I think I was born to act, and it's been part of my life. It's how I breathe as a human being. I started at 5.5, 6 years old, doing professional children's theater, doing poetry, doing work by the fellow named Shakespeare, and then I went on to do many plays. By the time I was 17, I had done about 300-400 plays as part of this professional children's theater. And then I came to New York City to study acting with Stella Adler for almost 6 years, and then with Harold Clurman, and with Jerzy Grotowski, with Joseph Chaikin, and many others, including Bobby Lewis and John Strasberg. But I began very, very young, and it was always my dream and passion to be an actor ever since I can remember. I'm sure I started as a very young child imitating people, so it's always been part of my life. Stella was so extraordinarily unique because she came from one of the great theater aristocratic families. Jacob Adler, her father, was one of the greatest actors who ever lived, so she grew up in that atmosphere. So she carried that with her. And when she embraced us with her, the things that she felt were important for us to understand about the art of the actor, since she was the only American to have studied with Stanislavski for almost 6 weeks in Paris. She also studied with different extraordinary directors and teachers like Reinhardt, and knew so many people like Chekhov and Michael Chekhov. So when she gave us her gifts and taught us the art of acting, in the same way that she taught people like Marlon Brando and Warren Beatty and Robert De Niro, she was giving us the nobility and the size of what the actor represents. She was giving us her love and her passion so that we would go forth, making us understand that what the responsibility it is to go in front of other people and to approach the masterworks of plays by Ibsen or Chekhov and Miller and Williams and Inge and Strindberg, and to understand what it takes to ennoble yourself. And she taught me the art of transformation, which is what I teach, to how you have to change yourself. And then she also introduced us the ideas of people like Vakhtangov and Meyerhold and Michael Chekhov. And she was very, very kind and gentle. She could also be extremely strict and disciplined, but she always did it with a very deep caring for the artist, because she felt that the artist must be respected and must be given the opportunity to share the truth of the world and the world we live in, and through the great work and the great literature of our greatest playwrights. So it becomes our responsibility, she would always tell us, to rise to the play, to the size of the play, because you're not playing yourself, you're always being this human being that has this spirit, and it's up to you to share all the great ideas that these plays have within them. So I learned a lot in basic acting classes with her, in script interpretation, in scene study. It was quite an experience. I publish the Soul of the American Actor newspaper, which is at Soul, S-O-U-L, soulamericanactor.com. It's also in print. It comes out 3-4 times a year. It's the only newspaper in America about the art and craft of the actor and the art of the theater. I've been doing it 14 years now. And I believe that it represents a form, an opportunity for artists in the stage, some in film and television, some in the dance world, some are artists. I have a whole variety of artists, but I do interviews with different actors, directors, playwrights, choreographers, artists, and also scenic artists, authors, people like Elie Wiesel or Derek Walcott, of course, playwrights. So I have interviews, I have essays by writers from all over the world, by artists who share their ideas, and then I also have articles about theaters in America and around the world, because I think it's important to share the width and breadth of our art this way. So the newspaper has grown. It now reaches about 20 to 25,000 readers across America and around the world. And I think that it's a great opportunity for young people of any age to immerse themselves in the ideas about the craft and about the art and about what it means to us today and what it may mean for us in the future. Well, instead of thinking about success, because it's much more important to think about how you can fulfill yourself as a human being, because the only way that you can share the truth of your soul and the truth of the playwright is to fill yourself with as many ideas as possible, to take care and to work on your instrument, so that you can also reveal your voice and the voice and the size of the ideas of the playwright. It's much more important to focus on what it means to you and what it may mean to others who come to see and hear what you have to share. And sometimes you can do it non-verbally, sometimes you can do it in movement, not necessarily always with words. It can be with gesture. But the most important thing is that you commit yourself. You commit your entire mind, your heart, your soul, and you bring your ancestors with you, those who have come before you, to share who you are and what you are and why you have something that's important to say on this planet at this time. And if possibly other people think it's of importance and they recognize it, then you do achieve some success. But it's more important about giving yourself over to bringing new life, creating life on the stage. To me, that's much more important than this whole emphasis on success. Of course, if you do your work well, you will get paid well and you will have fame and fortune. But you should really think more about what you're going to share, what your contribution is to the world in order to heal it. It's much more important. Well, I've had the opportunity these past 14 years to share the Soul of the American Actor newspaper, so I'm going to continue to do that. I've been touring all over the world to 5 continents, to 16 countries with my play Let It Be Art, bringing to life Harold Clurman, which I'm going to be doing the rest of my life. And I've been blessed to bring the play recently to Delhi, to Chile's theater company because I was able to be a part of a special presentation recently, and it's just a great opportunity to continue to share the spirit and the universal ideas of Harold, so I'm going to be continuing to do that. I've recently completed a new play about Henrik Ibsen, which I'm going to be working on when I get back as far as a production, and also it may very well become an opera. I also recently completed a feature film about the group theater, which part of it is adapted from my play about the group theater, America's Greatest Acting Company. And I co-wrote that screenplay with Joan Micklin Silver, the Oscar-nominated filmmaker of Hester Street and Crossing Delancey. So I'm constantly in the midst of writing new plays, and I'm also working as a dramaturg and as the director of a new production with a Dutch actress, Eva Darpal, about Mata Hari. So when I get back to America, I'm going to be doing that as well. And I've been invited to about 7 or 8 countries this coming year, so I'm going to be continuing. I also teach the Art of Transformation workshop, so I just taught that across India, down in Calicut University in Tishore, and then at Oroville and the University of Pondicherry, and now here in Delhi. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to continue to do that. So that's part of my life right now, so that's what I'm going to be sharing. Well, it always is a great opportunity to meet and get to know and to share ideas with young people across the world. When I was in Zimbabwe performing and teaching in a large tribal hut, the enthusiasm was just extraordinary. But I get that everywhere I go, whether it was I performed in a 17th century Sultan's palace in the Kasbah, in the Medina, in Morocco, in Tangier, or I'm performing in a large palace theater in the middle of Minsk in Belarus, or in a small black box theater, or in a classroom. Everywhere I go, I find there's an enormous desire by young people of all ages, from 13 to 99, to want to experience the passion and the ideas of Harold Clurman, and also to understand what the art of transformation is. So I find this great desire and need comes from a very deep place, a very deep well in their heart and their mind and their soul, to explore themselves through the art. And that's what I am blessed to be able to do. And it's the same in America. It can be here in India, how they really give themselves over. And in this kind of exercises that I do really allows them a great sense of freedom. And once you have that, then you can go anywhere you want in the art. And that's truly what it's about, delving into the deep richness of the literature of these great playwrights and the stories that they tell, and then also allowing yourself the freedom to go as far as you can possibly go. And that's what I've discovered everywhere I traveled with the young people. I was teaching in Thailand or at the International Festival in Kathmandu. There always is this great desire to want to know more, to want to learn how they can share more of themselves, and that's why I love what I do, and I love learning from others that way. Whenever we get into that word favorites, I think I love all playwrights of the world. Naturally, there are those that I gravitate more towards, but I'm always very interested in learning about new playwrights and their work, because I like to merge, whether I'm working on Genet, Beckett, or Ionesco, or Pinter, or Ibsen, or Chekhov, or Shaw, or it can be young and new, vibrating playwrights today who are writing new work. Sashim Gilpa, your great play that I got a chance to work on was so exciting. It's a fun comedy, so that was really exciting to do. So I'm just thrilled by the opportunity, whatever it happens to be. I was very blessed to study with Harold Clurman, who was, you might say, the cultural conscience of America. He became the elder statesman of the American theater. He was, in America, but around the world, one of the great directors of the 20th century. You could easily say that he was the most defining force and most inspiring person in the American theater for over 60, 70 years. He also directed some of the most important productions, including A Member of the Wedding, Bus Stop, A Touch of the Poet. And he also traveled around the world to teach and direct. He was America's greatest drama critic. He also wrote very influential books on directing, which everyone should read, whether you're an actor, a director, a producer, and The Fervent Years. And he never stopped ennobling others with his great passion. I bring him to life because his voice and his passions really continue to speak to the heart and mind and soul of people all over the world, because he really brings what life and theater, how they commingle with one another, down to earth. He tells it like it is, you might say. And it's good to hear that because, there's so many things flying around, so many ideas. It's hard to know what to do and what to think about. And he really, in a sense, says, just think about what matters to you right now. And because it's just like, simply like food, like bread and wine. It's that simple. You have to put everything into perspective. And so I continue sharing his great passion, because when I studied with him, he imbued us with how important it is to share ourselves, and how important it is that the art of theater really has the capacity to change the world, to change human beings, as long as we give ourselves over to it with every inch of ourselves. So that's why I continue sharing Let It Be Art. And it really, I've seen, has the opportunity to really let people understand how theater and art nourish and heal the world. And also, you must do it with great humor. Well, I've been sharing for the past, it's been about 10, 12 years now, the only workshop in America that uses the chart, the method of physical actions, which Stanislavski gave to Stella Adler in 1934 in Paris, and she brought it back to the group theater, and subsequently the group, many of the group theater actors used it, and then Bobby Lewis, who was there at the group theater at that famous meeting, he wrote it down, the chart as it was, and he put it in his book Method of Madness. And I learned from almost 6 years of studying with Stella and with Harold Clurman how, in a sense, to share the 40 tools that the actor is responsible from, beginning with work on oneself. And I think that it's essential that we understand how we can immerse ourselves in these different tools, which ones work for us, because eventually you have to find your own way of working. But it's very useful to discover what these tools are, how they impact upon your soul, how you can use them, where they take you. And so I do it with exercises, I do it with humor, I do it with stories, but I also do it essentially going through all of the different tools. It's sort of like building a table. You've got to have the tools, the hammer and the nails and all the things, and then you've got to have the technique of how to put it all together. And then once you do, then you do your own thing. You do whatever you want to do. But it's always good to have some structure, some base to go from, some work ethic. And then you can, of course, have the opportunity to explore and experiment. I was fortunate to have a strong base as an actor with Stella Adler, with Harold Clurman, and the other teachers. So now I'm able to share what I've learned. Well, I'm so grateful to the opportunity to International Pasta to be able to share these ideas with you, especially because you've been working so hard here in India, making people aware of how important art is and what the tools and technique that actors need to know about, and also how they need to be nourished. It's so important that we nourish and take care of our artists, and you continue to do it, and I think that's vital for the health and the continuity on this planet of how we heal one another. Thank you.